How's it going, guys? Honest Sarcastic with the Hyperloops. So today may be a little different than normal. Realistically, when I talk, I just kind of go off on tangents anyways, so who knows where I really end up. But the intent today is to talk about a couple things. One of them is kind of, I don't know, I tend to like gain words from other people, so like I would call it the State of the Union of Star Wars Destiny. iRebel had an article done by Matthew Williams talking about kind of where the game is right now. So I kind of want to talk about that a bit, and then I want to talk about what happened with Artificery. So as a heads up, in case you didn't know, Artificery pretty much got like a cease and desist for running online events, Star Wars Destiny events. So I'm going to talk about the pretty much the article first, and my thoughts in general. So more or less the iRebel article goes over like where we're at as a game. They started out fine. They had 20-25 players, and it's a Star Wars IP. We all think that this is going to be great because it's the Star Wars IP, and now we kind of expect, releases in adequate inventory, etc., etc. And if any of you guys that had started the original, there was a ginormous issue with inventory, primarily because places, weren't giving it a chance. So they didn't pre-order a bunch, and then the game kind of just took off and exploded. The secondary market value on cards was through the roof. Sith Lord Vader, which is currently sitting at $17, used to be at like $70, and even then you couldn't even get them. Like it was kind of ridiculous. And then I think somewhere when stuff got restocked, it was sitting at like 50, and then the restock was out again because new players were coming in. I came in around that second restock, and not in November. I came in like January, February 2017. So the game was essentially hot fire. What we got, though, was we got an organized play that is not kind of used to a whole competitive level. Everyone keeps telling me that FFG is more of a kitchen tabletop type game. They put out stuff. They pretty much small timers, essentially. They don't have an organized play that's really adept in understanding what's going on. So we had all these distributor issues with getting the stuff out, and then we had the whole sneak preview release thing with certain places getting lots of packs or a certain amount of packs, and I think it was something like 3 boxes or whatever it was, and you had to play games to get packs, and it was limited, blah blah blah. But anyway, so more or less we've been kind of bogged down by issue after issue with distribution and release dates, and you really do lose people because of stuff like that. And also that the way that they do things for tournament kits, so a lot of stores have just completely had issues getting tournament kits or store championship kits, and things like that. So we were playing, we get these store champs in May of 2017, round set 2, this is all exciting stuff. We get the Gen Con, we get the Nationals, but the release points were still always very, very questionable. Empire at War, we had no idea what was going on. We have that random target day where the 2-player starters come out, and it's just what? Why does no one know about this? At Nova, we have a bunch of us running around to targets at midnight to get this 2-player starter stuff. We're calling back our friendly local gaming stores, hey, I want to get this thing. It's like $30. We don't know what's in it, but I want it. And it's okay. But we get a bunch of crazy shit, more or less, and we need stability. But yeah, so we fast forward again. Empire War comes out. We really don't know the release date for a really long time. They're just kind of third quarter, fourth quarter, whatever's going on. So I think we got it it was either late September or early October. And then, you know, we're catching details of Legacy coming out around Christmas, and we're just like, what the hell? Like, that one would have made sense if just the third set had got pushed back. So it's like, okay, the time frames, they came out like November, they came out like April, May for SOR. Then we got the other one just like way late, you know. So yeah, I think that was September, October, something like that. So it's like, all right, you know, that there was a 4 months-ish right there. That's fine, all right. But then, like, we're looking like 2-3 months for the next set. We're like, what the fuck? Or at least I was like, that's too fast, because I don't know about you guys, but like I was getting like six plus boxes per set. I think I got 8 of like EAW. Then they announced these format things, so we get like trilogies, legacies, and it's like, all right, you know, they hear people complaining about cards. That's fine. In my book, it's a little early to start talking about, you know, formats where you're making the old cards useless. I think it would have been fine talking about Infinite and then like Block or Trilogy, because that wouldn't make the old stuff useless and it'd be very specific. But then they introduced Standard, so now we know that set 1 through 3 is going to rotate out roughly, you know, a year and a half later. It's going to be really hard to get people to get in to buy these old cards with inventory, you know, where we can't get the initial boxes anymore. And so, like, new players, why would they go buy stuff that's going to rotate out in a year? Like, I don't know if any of you guys have played Magic, but they have that 2-year standard thing, or whatever it was, and then I think they adjusted to, like, whatever, block sets, blah, blah, and, like, they change it frequently, or frequently enough, because they just don't want to see the same decks over and over. And it's like, all right, this is fine, but the game's not even established yet, or, you know, largely enough. So then we've got people who want to get in, but then we have to pretty much tell them, hey, you know, you may not want to bother getting the old stuff because it's going to rotate in like a year. Like, that's what we're looking at right now. Presumably speaking, a year from now is when the black box sets, so Awakening, SOR, EAW, which is pretty much almost everything as we know, you know, see it as this current time, is going to be gone. And it's like, all right, well, this is fine from a standard perspective, but like, new players still are going to have that entry barrier where they realistically can't play only Legacy in a standard event because there's some old, you know, broken stuff. A lot of the more broken stuff is kind of EAW, with the whole like Ancients and things like that. But there are key cards from the older sets, but you know, you can get away with that for the most part, buying the commons and uncommons, and then just picking up stuff like Hold Up Blasters and Vibro Knives. But neither here nor there. It's one of those. For me, that was a big thing, and I was just like, I don't know if I trust this game anymore. I feel like they give in to whims far too often. But whatever. So now we're looking at Way of the Force. So now the thing is that Legacy came out, to me it came out in January. There were some places that got it, what, December? And then the States got it January 4th or somewhere around there, if I'm not mistaken. Or somewhere into like the 14th. There was some gap around there where I remember there were regionals going on that had, you know, either the starters legal, or Legacy was legal but not the starters, or, you know, everything including Rivals was legal, Rivals not legal, because we got 6 of them back in December or something like that, end of December. And so, like, all this stuff that they were trying to pull out, this whole draft thing was all cool in theory. But by the time the draft stuff was actually released, it was February, which was supposed to be the theoretical release date for Legacy.
Northwest on I-95 North.
1 second, my GPS is talking for some reason. 1 second. I don't know why this is still on.
There's a 5-minute slowdown in 2 miles.
I don't know how that's
You are still on the fastest route.